Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello to you. Welcome back to the channel where it's finally time for a garage update. Now you joined me today at the Nürburgring. You can probably hear cars blasting around in the background. The weather though has been all over the place. 1 minute we have bright sunshine, the next it is a thunderstorm. So by the end of this video, it's probably going to be raining. However, loads of you have been asking me for a garage update to know a little bit more about where my various cars are at the moment, what's happening next, plans for the future, modifications, wraps, exhausts, and I've even got a hint to give you about something that's lurking on the horizon. But I want to talk mostly today about the beast of the black hell, my Mercedes AMG GT R. This car is now approaching 20,000 kilometers. For a car like this in that period of time, that is quite frankly absurd. So let's have a bit of a report, so to speak, on what this car has been like to own and drive this much, be open and honest about some of the costs that have been involved, as well as talking about the other cars that are currently in the fleet. So let's get started taking a look at the GT R. I've come today to the Nürburgring because, well, as you can hear, there are always plenty of things going on. Cars driving around, cars out on track. I've been filming another video while I'm here as well, but also using the opportunity to come out and catch up with these guys, RENNtech Europe. Believe it or not, it has now been 6,000 kilometers of driving in the GTR since we were here installing their package. So just as a reminder, that's the ECU tune that took it up from 585 horsepower to 672 that we then took over to the dyno. It also has the RENNtech downpipes, which make the most monstrous sound you can imagine, and also, just for a bit of fun, the blow-off valve as well. The car is an absolute riot, and I'm still loving it in every possible way. It's just an awesome thing to be driving, and drive this car has done. To this date, it has been around racetracks, the GP circuit here, the Nordschleife as well. It's done a VMAX run down the Autobahn up to 331 kilometers per hour. That's 205 miles per hour on the GPS system. It was actually pretty accurate on the dashboard when it did that. We've also taken it on road trips. It went on the trip down to Top Marks Monaco, it went on the Ring Ting, and it's also just come back from the Mille Miglia. So that means it's driven on mountain passes, on plenty of motorways, been to a ton of different countries already. It's basically doing just about everything a car like this can do. And the Mille Miglia was the last trip, hence why it still has all of the stickers on the car. Although those are temporary, do not fear, they're not going to be on there permanently. I don't think the gold sticker, yellow sticker and red sticker all work particularly well together as a permanent thing, but I'll keep them on for now, just as, I guess, a bit of a souvenir, because I think it's fun that the car went down there. So Benzene Ben is working hard on the video. We were media with the AMG GT R. We've got an awesome edit coming out. It will be one of the best videos I think that's ever been on the Shmee 150 channel, so stay tuned for that. Watch this space, it is going to be awesome. Not only that though, I also forgot that the car had all those snow adventures. We were calling it the Schneemobile when I had picked it up because of how much time it was spending driving around on snow and ice. It's got the Sport Cup 2 summer tyres back on it now, more grip, but obviously need to be brought up to temperature, whereas at winter it had the Pirelli Sotto Zeros. Although amusingly, you will see that the clouds are already getting substantially darker than the sunshine when we started this off. That is the Nürburgring in every way. But let's talk about the servicing and things that have come up along the way. So when I got the car, there was a sticker on the windscreen that said it needed a running in service. Well, that turned out to not actually be the case, so it didn't need that at all. I took it in though for a checkup just to make sure everything was running shipshape. You know most recently about the problems that I had with the front intercooler. So you will see that the front of the car is very exposed. There's no mesh or anything covering it up. And what effectively happened is that stones pierced the intercooler, punctured it, and it leaked, which meant that I've had to pay for a new intercooler. So the new intercoolers, I think it was 2 intercoolers on this side, and it ended up costing me 1,820 euros to have that sorted out. I'm a bit worried because technically it could potentially happen again, but if you put a mesh over, then you impact the heating, or cooling I should say, for the heat of the engine. So I'm not quite sure, actually that intercooler is for the gearbox, what the best option with that is. I also had to get a new windscreen. We unfortunately picked up a couple of stone chips on the windscreen which developed into a crack, one going up, one coming across the bottom, and that was about the same price, 1,780 euros or so to get a new windscreen. That can obviously happen at any time to any car, just unfortunate that it did in this case. Next up, we'll be getting the car serviced. I don't know what that's going to cost yet. It's asking me to do service A, which is due at 20,000 kilometers, 12,500 miles, which is where the car is now, or very nearly to be. You'll see if I just open the door and come in here and blip it open. It says it is on 19,200 kilometers, but by the time it's driven back to the UK, that will become 20,000 very easily, unless I truck it back. The service is actually slightly variable, so I think it's just over 20,000 that it's currently asking for it. The only other thing is that there is currently a warning message which shows suspension malfunction, but actually suspension system is connected to an ECU, so it's the ECU that's showing the error. We just had a look at the fault codes here at RENNtech, didn't change anything because it should be done on warranty, but basically there's an electrical connection that's gone wrong to do with the transmission at the back. You can see it underneath, so hopefully that will be an easy fix. But basically these are what happen when you drive a car like this many miles and drive it properly and put it through its paces. Coming back to the inside, some other things just to talk about the car quickly. Firstly, the Alcantara steering wheel. Those can typically wear out really quickly, but it has to be said, this one is holding up incredibly well. It still feels very new even after this amount of mileage. I am loving the seats as much as I ever have. Seats can be a completely personal thing depending on a person's shape, size, build, etc. But these are brilliant for me. The one thing I'm not too keen on is the center console, that basically when you're sitting in the seat, your elbow kind of rests here, which can be a bit awkward. Obviously it was designed to have the comfort seats, not the buckets that we'll put in retrospectively, which also makes it quite awkward to move the reverse or drive toggle. However, you kind of learn a way to do that. Otherwise, the infotainment could be a newer generation. This is now getting on a bit. This was introduced, I guess, with the first AMG GT R. It's not the latest dual screen setup that Mercedes have and would no doubt install if they did the car now. I'm still loving having the 9-stage drift control. That's an awful lot of fun to play with. Just need more opportunities to take it out on track and really enjoy that. And another thing I like, when I bought the car, I was trying to decide whether to upgrade from the middle stage audio, this is a Burmester sound system, to the top Burmester system, but this is really good. I think the extra wouldn't necessarily have been worth doing. I've been really impressed with the sound of this, and when you drive this kind of mileage, you do need to have a good audio system. It's a big part of it. The car's practical, it's useful, it's huge, it's very wide, there's no question about that, which can make it a bit difficult to park, but I don't really mind that. I think it's worth it for just how cool it looks and how ridiculously wide these wheel arches are when you see down the side of the car. And at the front, how it just sticks out and just looks incredible. Obviously with the Dub Customs installed, satin black grille at the front, the yellow touches, the full PPF from Topaz in London also. Basically everything about it is holding up really well. If you did this kind of mileage in a hand-built supercar, I think you'd probably have problems by now. So let's now move on to a run through of the other cars in the lineup, and let's start with the McLaren, the 675 LT Spider. That is currently in storage here in Germany, but I'm going to get it out because I want to drive it a little bit more now that the weather's getting better. It was last really driven on the Ring Wing Ting. Then the Aston Martin Vantage GT8, that's back in London. I drove it in convoy with the GT3 back to London. That's back in its home base, so to speak, ready for some events in the UK in summer. Then the Porsche GT3, I dropped it in London with my dad, who's since driven it back to Germany, so that's now at my base in Germany after my dad took it on a little road trip, so that's back at home. Also the new M5, that is clocking up mileage very fast because we drove down to the Mille Miglia with it and drove it back again too, and it's also off on some other adventures soon with Schmark, my manager. He's going to be driving it a little bit too. What else do we have? The Focus RSs. The blue Focus RS is going to be advertised for sale any day now. The red Focus RS is ready and set for it to become the project. The first thing we're working on with proto trim that you might have seen in the collection video is mostly underway. The parts are being developed and I'm going to be signing those off soon, so stay tuned for that before we develop the car even more and do more crazy things with it. The Heritage Edition Focus RS, the orange one, I've not actually picked it up yet. It's still in, at the dealership awaiting the 68 plate, so I can collect it on the 1st of September later on this year, but I'm going to be away then, I think, so it might be a few days later. Anyway, it's all a little bit complicated. So what else is on the horizon? The Ford GT, we talked a little bit about the spec. That's going to be coming at the very tail end of this year, so it should arrive, if I'm lucky, in December 2018. But let's wait and see. Maybe it will be just in time for a Christmas present. Then at some point next year, there will also be the new TVR Griffith, which I'm very much looking forward to. We'll talk more about the specification of that car when it gets a little bit closer. And then I hinted towards a surprise. I've put it on Instagram. Stay tuned. About a month or two from now, there'll be some news about something else that's going to be added to the collection in due course. I'm sorry, I like being quite mysterious with these kind of things. So the AMG GT R, I'm toying with ideas of wrapping it, maybe changing the wheels on the car and putting on some more custom wheels. What else do you think I should do to it? Should I do some bigger turbos here with RENNtech? I don't necessarily know that it needs it. It's very, 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 very fast already, but I do imagine if I did, I'd be completely hooked and addicted to the amount of power that it offered. Another random thing about this car, by the way, if I come round to the back, the rear wing actually has the option to change its angle, so you can pivot it more forwards for extra downforce. I think it's in its flattest mode, but obviously you would want it as flat as possible when going for a high-speed VMAX run. But we think with RENNtech that the car is limited to 340 kilometers per hour, so I was pretty close to getting to that anyway. Just for fun though, let me jump in and start it up, because it always sounds so very, very good when you do. Step in here, start button in the center console, and into life we go. So there's that message I was telling you about. That goes away, it's nothing serious. Oh, we've got the music running. But yes, that mega sound and those crackles and burbles, it really is just phenomenal. The beast of the Black Hell properly awoke when we installed this system. There's one other thing I'd like to let you know about as well that I haven't talked about up to this stage, but to do so, let me probably shut this off so that we're not wasting fuel and the like, and being very, very noisy, and that is the launch of a new Shmee 150 shop. Not just a merchandise shop, we're also going to be including the ability for you guys to click through and purchase some of the gear I'm using, some car-related socks, other accessories, things you might have seen in the Shmee 150 videos, as well as merchandise. So I'm very excited about this, and you can head over to shmee150.com or using the link down in the description below where you can sign up to get an alert when it all goes live. We've been working on it for absolutely ages, believe me, but it should be pretty awesome when it's all live, so I'm very excited to get that shared. Anyway, that is pretty much it for a garage update at this stage. That is where all the cars are, that's everything that's going on. If you have any more questions, do ask them in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to reply if I can. But yeah, the weather is turning, as I expected, towards being very grey and thunderstormy. Welcome to the Nürburgring. Anyway, that is it for this time. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. I will be sure to catch up with you again very, very soon. Cheers.